The opening match of the night is announced as the crowd erupts as Cody Rhodes' music hits. The American Nightmare emerges from the curtain, the weight belt around his waist gleaming under the stadium lights. He takes his time with his entrance, soaking in the adoration of the 80,000 fans in attendance. Rhodes walks down the ramp with purpose, touching hands with fans along the way. He removes the weight belt with practiced precision, slinging it over his shoulder as he climbs the steel steps. The pyro erupts as he poses onto the turnbuckle, the crowd fully behind him chanting his name. Dolph Ziggler's music hits next, but something feels different. The usual showmanship and swagger are replaced by a cold, calculated intensity. Ziggler marches to the ring with a steely glaze, ignoring the fans who reach out for him. His entrance is devoid of theatrics, a stark contrast to Rhodes' grand display. The crowd's reaction is mixed. The bell rings and both men circle each other, sizing up their opponent. Right from the start, it's a technical showcase, with Ziggler and Rhodes exchanging holds, neither one able to pull ahead. Rhodes displays precision, but Ziggler's veteran instinct keeps pace, giving the crowd a thrilling lesson in wrestling fundamentals. Rhodes is able to take control with a series of flawless arm drags, each one delivering louder cheers from the audience. He follows up with a crisp drop kick that sends Ziggler tumbling out of the ring to catch his breath. Ziggler, ever the opportunist, uses this moment to regroup when Rhodes attempts the springboard move from the apron, but he lands awkwardly, his knee buckling just enough for Ziggler to pounce. Sensing the vulnerability, Ziggler goes straight for the surgically repaired knee, applying a brutal series of holds. The crowd gasps as he abandons all sportsmanship, stomping on the knee and locking in a figure four leg lock. Rhodes fights back with determination, using his upper body strength to launch a flurry of one-legged drop kicks that get the crowd on their feet. He rallies with a disaster kick, followed by a crossroads, but Ziggler is somehow able to kick out at two. Frustration washes over as Rhodes prepares for another crossroads. In a moment they will be talked about for weeks, Ziggler suddenly collapses, clutching his knee in apparent pain. Referee Charles Robinson is right on the job as he rushes to check on him, concern visible on his face. Rhodes, showing a hint of compassion that could turn out to be his downfall, hesitates and reaches out to help out his former friend. In an instant, Ziggler's entire demeanor changes. He pulls out brass knuckles from his tights, and when the referee's view is blocked, he strikes Cody square in the face. The crowd erupts in boos as Rhodes crumples to the mat. Without wasting a moment, Ziggler hits the zigzag with ruthless precision. The referee counts 1, 2, 3. But Ziggler isn't finished. He snaps, mounting Rhodes and unleashing a flurry of punches with the brass knuckles. Blood streams from Rhodes' forehead as the crowd chants, "You sick bastard." Finally, Ziggler grabs a microphone, his voice shaking with years of bottled-up anger. "For years, I've made stars out of lesser men," Ziggler shouts, his eyes wild. "I've carried this company on my back while they pushed people like you. No more playing nice, no more show-off. This is the real Dolph Ziggler." He leaves Rhodes lying in a pool of his own blood as medical personnel rush to the ring. The once boisterous crowd is now filled with a mix of boos and stunned silence. Ziggler walks up the ramp, a cold smirk on his face as the camera fades to black. The King of the Ring semifinals have kicked off, and Dolph Ziggler has sent a chilling message to everyone in the tournament. He'll do whatever it takes to win. The atmosphere in Wembley Stadium shifts as the next semi-final match is announced. The crowd buzzes with anticipation, knowing that this bout will determine who faces Dolph Ziggler in the King of the Ring finals. The lights dim and the haunting theme of Painkiller echoes throughout the stadium. The self-proclaimed Legends Killer emerges from the shadows, his cold, calculating demeanor sending chills throughout the audience. Painkiller walks to the ring with a predatory swagger, his eyes locked on the squared circle as if he's already visualizing the destruction he's about to unleash. The crowd boos loudly, but Painkiller remains unfazed, his smirk only growing wider as he steps into the ring. The mood changes as the opening chords of Hayden Storm's theme hit. The crowd erupts and cheers as the veteran makes his way to the ring. Storms, a living legend in WWE, carries himself with the gravitas of a man who's seen it all. His face is a mask of determination as he soaks in the adoration of the fans. Storms climbs the steps, pauses on the apron and raises his arms, igniting the crowd once more. The stadium chants his name as he steps into the ring, ready to face the younger, more dangerous and hungry Painkiller. The bell rings and the two men circle each other, the tension palpable. Painkiller wastes no time, charging at Storms with a vicious clothesline that sends the veteran crashing into the mat. The assault begins immediately, with Painkiller using his raw power and unrelenting aggression to dominate the moments of the match. He slams Storms into the corner, delivering a series of brutal shoulder thrusts to the midsection. The crowd winces with each impact, but Storms refuses to stay down, fighting back with a series of stiff elbows to Painkiller's jaw. Storms gains a brief advantage, hinting a snap suplex and following up with a knee drop. He goes for an early cover, but Painkiller kicks out at 2, his expression one of cold disdain. Painkiller rolls out of the ring to regroup, but Storms isn't about to let him escape. The veteran leaps over the top rope with a plancha, taking Painkiller down on the outside. The crowd roars in approval as Storms rolls Painkiller back into the ring, but the momentum shift is short-lived. Painkiller catches Storms with a brutal spinebuster as he re-enters the ring, and from there, the match becomes a one-sided beatdown. Painkiller methodically dismantles Storms, targeting his back with precision. He hits a series of backbreakers, each one more devastating than the last, and locks in a camel clutch, wrenching Storms' neck and spine. The crowd begins to get behind Storms, chanting, "Let's go, Storms!" as the veteran struggles to escape, his face a mask of pain and determination. Storms manages to fight back, hitting a desperation DDT out of nowhere. Both men are down and the crowd rises to their feet, sensing a potential comeback. Storms slowly gets to his feet, using the ropes for support, and begins to mount a rally. He hits a series of clotheslines, each one more powerful than the last, and follows up with a spinebuster of his own. The crowd erupts as Storm signals for the crossface, but Painkiller counters with a vicious knee to the face. Painkiller regains control, hitting a devastating powerbomb that shakes the ring. He goes for the cover, but Storms kicks out at the last possible moment, the crowd erupting in cheers. Painkiller's frustration is evident as he stalks Storms, looking to put him away for good. He sets up for his finisher, the punt kick, but before he can deliver the blow, Jon Moxley's music hits. The stadium explodes as Moxley sprints to the ring, his eyes wild with rage. Tyler Sandslayer is right there behind him, and the two men barge past referees and officials, screaming for Seth Rollins to show himself. The distraction allows Storms to recover, and he locks in the crossface on Painkiller. The crowd is on their feet as Painkiller struggles, refusing to tap out. The pain is too much, however, and Painkiller passes out, forcing the referee to call for the bell. Storms collapses to the mat, exhausted but victorious. The crowd chants his names as he slowly gets to his feet, his hand raised in victory. Meanwhile, Moxley is still in a frenzy, shouting at Painkiller and demanding answers about Seth Rollins. Officials rush to the ring to separate the chaos, but the damage is done. The energy in Wembley Stadium remains electric as the Intercontinental Championship is about to be defended. The crowd erupts as Kuroshi's theme hits, the reigning champion emerging with the title draped over his shoulder. Kuroshi walks to the ring with a signature swagger, the crowd chanting his name as he soaks in the adoration. He climbs the top turnbuckle, holding the title high as pyro explodes around him. The message is clear. Kuroshi is ready to defend his championships against all comers. Out next is Declan O'Malley, the no-nonsense brawler from Dublin. O'Malley's entrance is all business, his eyes locked on Kuroshi as he marches to the ring. The crowd gives him a mixed reaction, some cheering for the underdog, while others boo the man who's vowed to take the title by any means necessary. O'Malley steps into the ring, staring down Kuroshi as the referee holds up the championship for all to see. The bell rings, and the match begins with a feeling out process. Both men trade holds, each trying to gain the upper hand. Kuroshi's speed and technical prowess are on full display as he counters O'Malley's power with crisp strikes and takedowns. O'Malley, however, isn't fazed. He uses his brute strength to overcome Kuroshi, slamming him into the corner and delivering a series of stiff shoulder thrusts. The match quickly escalates into a hard-hitting brawl, with both men trading stiff strikes and high-impact moves. Kuroshi hits a beautiful springboard dropkick, sending O'Malley crashing into the mat. He follows up with a standing moonsault for a near fall, but O'Malley kicks out at the last second. The Dublin disaster rallies, hitting a devastating spinebuster that shakes the entire ring. He goes for the cover, but Kuroshi kicks out, the crowd roaring in approval. Kuroshi counters a powerbomb attempt into a DDT, stunning O'Malley. He climbs to the top rope and hits a breathtaking 450 splash, but O'Malley rolls out of the way at the last second. O'Malley goes for his finisher, but Kuroshi ducks and counters with a spinning heel kick. He quickly follows up with a top rope Phoenix splash, and the referee counts. 1, 2, 3! Kuroshi retains his Intercontinental Championship, the crowd erupting in cheers as he celebrates in the ring. But the celebration is short-lived. Zara Piper appears on the stage, a sly smirk on her face. "Congratulations, Kuroshi," she says, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "But you're not done yet. You've got another match, right now." Wardlow's music hits. The towering Wardlow storms to the ring, his eyes locked on the exhausted Kuroshi. The champion barely has time to catch his breath before Wardlow slides into the ring, the bell immediately ringing. Wardlow dominates from the start, using his immense power to toss Kuroshi around like a rag doll. He hits a series of brutal power moves, including a thunderous spinebuster that leaves Kuroshi gasping for air. The crowd rallies behind the champion, chanting his name as he struggles to mount a comeback. Kuroshi manages to counter a powerbomb attempt into a Hurricane Rana, sending Wardlow crashing into the turnbuckle. He follows up with a springboard dropkick and a standing shooting star press, but Wardlow kicks out at 2. The big man looks unstoppable as he lifts Kuroshi for another powerbomb, but Kuroshi wiggles free and locks in a triangle choke. Wardlow powers out, slamming Kuroshi into the mat. He sets up for the F10, but Kuroshi counters with a small package. The referee counts. 1, 2, 3! Kuroshi retains again. But before he can celebrate, Piper's voice echoes through the stadium once more. "Not so fast, champ. You've got one more match." The crowd erupts as Braun Breaker's music now hits. Breaker sprints to the ring, his intensity unmatched. The bell rings and Breaker immediately takes the fight to the exhausted champion. He hits a series of suplexes, each one more explosive than the last, and follows with a vicious spear that nearly knocks Kuroshi out cold. Kuroshi ends up fighting back with everything he has left, hitting a desperation super kick and a springboard cutter. He goes for the cover, but Breaker is able to kick out at 2. Breaker counters with a gorilla press slam, but Kuroshi lands on his feet and locks in a figure 4. Breaker screams in pain, but he manages to power out, lifting Kuroshi into the air and slamming him down with a powerbomb. He goes for the cover, but Kuroshi kicks out at the last second. The crowd is on their feet as both men struggle. Kuroshi counters a spear attempt with a knee strike, stunning Braun Breaker. He hits the brighter the season, and the referee counts. 1, 2, 3! Kuroshi has yet retained again, the 3rd time in a row. He collapses to the mat, completely spent, the crowd giving him a standing ovation, but Piper isn't done. "One more match," she says, her voice cold and calculating. The crowd boos as Sami Zayn's music now hits. Sami Zayn sprints to the ring, his energy a stark contrast to the battered champion. The bell rings, and Zayn immediately takes advantage of the exhaustion. He hits a series of quick strikes and follows up with a blue thunder bomb for a near fall. Kuroshi fights back with everything he has left, hitting a spinning heel kick and a standing moonsault. He goes for the cover, but Zayn kicks out at 2. Zayn counters with a hula kick, but Kuroshi somehow kicks out at the last second. The crowd is on their feet as both men struggle to their feet. Zayn sets up for another hula kick, but Ryoshi appears at ringside, distracting the referee. Zayn turns to confront Ryoshi, but Kuroshi capitalizes with a super kick. He climbs to the top rope and hits a Phoenix splash. 1, 2, 3! Kuroshi has done it again! Ryoshi slides into the ring and attacks Zayn. Ryoshi turns to Kuroshi, extending a hand to help him up. Kuroshi hesitates, then pushes Ryoshi away, the 2 men staring down as the segment ends. The arena plunges now into darkness, and the opening riffs of Jake Carter's entrance theme blast through the speakers. The crowd erupts into a deafening roar as Carter emerges from behind the curtain, his crimson gloves and maple leaf embezzled attire gleaming under the spotlight. He strides down the aisle with unmistakable air of superiority, casually clapping hands with fans while never breaking his confident demeanor. Upon reaching the ring, Carter launches himself onto the turnbuckle with practiced grace, basking in the thunderous Carter, Carter, chants that reverberate throughout the stadium. But as Anthony Chandler's music echoes through the arena, the ramp remains empty. The anticipation in the crowd slowly morphs into unease as minutes ticks by with no sign of Carter's opponent. Carter's self-asserted smirk transforms into a scowl as he snatches up a microphone. Chandler! Carter's voice booms through the arena, dripping with disdain. I should have known better than to expect you to show up tonight. You've been running that mouth of yours for weeks, talking about how you're going to expose me, how you're going to humble the Canadian greatest of all time. Well, look at you now, hiding in some dark corner like the spineless cockroach you are. The crowd hurls jurors towards the entranceway as Carter stalks the ring like a caged predator. You know what's funny? Everyone in this arena paid good money to see me beat the ever-leaving hell out of you, but instead, you're all watching prove exactly what I've been saying all along. You're nothing but a snake oil salesman, a fraud who got lucky once and has been running scared ever since. So here's what's gonna happen, Chandler. I'm gonna walk through that curtain, and I'm gonna search every locker room, every hallway, every bathroom stall in this building until I find you. And when I do, I'm gonna drag your sorry carcass down to this ring and beat the fuck out of you. With a primal roar, Carter hurls the microphone aside and bolts from the ring, sprinting up the ramp as the crowd whips itself into a frenzy. The camera crew scrambles to keep up as he disappears behind the curtain. Moments later, Anthony Chandler's theme music shatters the tension, wearing an insufferably smug expression that seems permanently etched onto his face. He saunters towards the ring with calculated deliberation, treating the hostile crowd like subjects in his personal kingdom. Sliding into the ring with practiced grace, Chandler raises the microphone to his lips. Oh my, would you look at that? The great Jake Carter seems to have gotten lost on his way to the ring. His words ooze with sarcasm. You know, for someone who calls himself the Canadian GOAT, he sure has a funny way of showing it, running around backstage like some kind of deranged mall cop while I'm out here standing, ready to fight. Turning to the referee, Chandler's tone shifts to one of administrative efficiency. Now, since I'm a fighting man who actually shows up to defend his smack talk, unlike some people, I demand you start the count. 20 seconds. That's all the time I'm willing to waste on this farce. The referee hesitates, but before beginning the count, each number echoing throughout the arena as the crowd joins in, their voices tinged with mounting dread. 1, 2, 3. Chandler paces the ring like a satisfied predator, occasionally checking his watch with exaggerated movements. 10, 11, 12. Tick-tock, Carter. Chandler taunts between counts. Maybe you should have spent less time working on your catchphrases and more time on your cardio. 19, 20. The bell tolls, its finality cutting through the chorus of boos. The referee reluctantly raises Chandler's hand as he basks in his ill-gotten victory. Ladies and gentlemen, what you just witnessed was the complete and utter destruction of a myth. I am now 2-0 against Jake Carter. The crowd's fury reaches a fever pitch, but their rage turns to horror as the Titan screen flickers to life, revealing a scene from backstage. Butch Gilson, Chandler's enforcer, emerges from Carter's locker room with bloody knuckles and a sadistic grin. The camera pans to Carter sprawled out on the floor, his signature red glove stained darker with his own blood. Chandler drops the microphone and exits the ring, his music playing as the crowd boos him out of the stadium. The camera lingers on Carter's lifeless body backstage, the image of a stark reminder of Chandler's ruthlessness. The hallowed ground of Wembley Stadium pulses with electricity as the main event looms. The air is thick with anticipation. Tonight's winner will not only be crowned King of the Ring, but will claim professional wrestling's most prestigious prize, the Heavyweight Championship. 80,000 strong rise to their feet, knowing that they're about to witness wrestling history. The opening notes of Dolph Ziggler's theme pierce through the atmosphere. The crowd's reaction is visceral. A thunderous mixture of disdain and reluctant respect as Ziggler emerges through the fog. Gone is the cocky show-off who once played to the crowd. In his place stands a cold-blooded predator, his eyes harboring a dangerous glint. he stalks to the ring with predatory grace. The fluorescent lights catch the gleam of his sweat on his perfectly conditioned physique as he enters the ring, pacing like a caged animal. The arena darkens, and Hayden Storm's music crashes through the speakers like a thunderbolt. The roar is deafening as Storm emerges, his body bearing the scars of his earlier war with Painkiller. He rises from his shoulders as he stands atop the entrance ramp, a warrior ready for one final battle. The storms, storms, storms chants share the stadium's foundation as he makes his way to the ring, every step carrying the weight of 20 years in this business. The bell finally rings and the atmosphere crackles. They circle each other like prize fighters, neither man willing to make the first mistake. The early exchanges are a masterclass in technical wrestling. Storms chains together a series of arm drinks into a beautiful butterfly suplex, while Ziggler responds with a signature headlock takedowns and quick mat reversals. The crowd hangs on every move, every counter, every near miss. Ziggler's strategy becomes clear as he targets his injured back. A running knee strike sends Storms crashing into the turnbuckle, followed by a brutal dragon screw leg whip that transitions seamlessly into a Boston Crab. Storm's face contorts in agony but refuses to submit. He claws his way towards the ropes, the crowd willing him forward with every inch. Storms catches Ziggler with a picture-perfect overhead belly-to-belly, sending him soaring across the ring. Ziggler answers with a missile dropkick that begins to hang in the air for eternity. Both men are painting a masterclass, each brush stroke more desperate than the last. The near falls begin to mount. Storms hits a thunderous Death Valley driver, but Ziggler is able to kick out at 2.5. Ziggler responds with a super kick that echoes throughout the stadium, another near fall. The crowd is on the emotional roller coaster, their cheers and gasps creating a soundtrack to the drama unfolding just before them. In a spectacular sequence, Storms counters a top rope Hurricane Rana attempt into a powerbomb, transitioning immediately into a sharpshooter. The crowd erupts, but Ziggler showcases his incredible core strength, reversing the hold into a small package. Storm is able to kick out, only to walk into a devastating zigzag that nearly drives him through the canvas. Somehow, someway, Storms kicks out again. Desperation sets in as Ziggler reaches for his insurance policy, the brass knuckles that served him so well earlier on in the night. The referee is distracted, clearing the turnbuckle pad Ziggler exposed earlier, but Storm sees the weapon coming. He ducks the loaded punch and quickly catches Ziggler in a O'Connor roll, but Ziggler is able to kick out and immediately spring to his feet, connecting with that picture-perfect super kick that turns Storms inside out. Instead of going for the cover, Ziggler's arrogance gets the better of him. He takes too long taunting to the crowd, allowing Storms to catch his breath. When Ziggler turns around, Storm is waiting. He catches the charging Ziggler with a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker, transitions smoothly into a rolling elbow strike, and follows up with a devastating brainbuster. The crowd is in a frenzy as Storms signals for the end, waiting for Ziggler to stand up to his feet. Once Ziggler staggers to his feet and Storm strikes, hoisting him up for the die-hard drop, the move is executed perfection. Ziggler's body driving into the canvas with impact that seems to shake the entire stadium. Storms makes the cover as the referee hand hits the mat. 1, 2, 3! The explosion of sound is unlike anything Wembley has ever heard. Storms collapses to his knees as the referee hands him the heavyweight championship. Hayden looks emotionless for a second. The gold gleams under the stadium lights as he raises it high, the crowd's adoration washing over him in waves. The celebration is cut short by the opening notes of the Strands of Sands theme. The sinister faction emerges, led by Antonio Schneider, surrounding the ring like wolves circling their prey. Storms stands his ground, the championship clutched tightly, ready to fight despite his exhaustion. The stadium erupts once more as Alan Snyder's music hits. He appears on the entrance ramp with an army of his own: John Cena, Sierra Hellblazer, Leon Lionstar, and Kyung. The two factions face off, the air thick with tension, neither side willing to make the first move. Storms looks between the groups, weighing his options. In a moment that will be remembered for years to come, he takes a step forward to stand behind Alan Snyder, former bitter rivals now united. He raises the heavyweight championship high above his head, defiant, proud, as the two groups continue their tense stare-off. The camera slowly fades to black, on tableau of power and unity. Hayden Storms, the new king of the ring and heavyweight champion, standing tall amidst the chaos that threatens to engulf him. In the storied history of Wembley Stadium, Few moments have ever felt quite this epic, quite this significant. The war for wrestling's future is just beginning, but tonight belongs to your new heavyweight champion, Hayden Storms. Fade to black.